Today I'm going to tell you about some of Italy's famous and sometimes infamous exiles, why they left, how exile affected them, and how the exile affected Italy itself. Ovid, full name Publius Ovidius Naso, was a Roman poet who lived during the reign of Augustus. He is most famous for the Metamorphoses, where he wrote the history of the world from its creation. In AD 8, Ovid was banished to Tomis, modern-day Constanta in Romania on the Black Sea, by Emperor Augustus without any legal process. Ovid would remain there until his death. Ovid claimed that his exile was due to, quotes, a poem and a mistake, end quotes. Clearly Augustus was not impressed, and Ovid would never return home to Rome. An exile would now influence his future work. He pined for both Rome and his wife, his third. The circumstances of Ovid's exile are the subject of quite some debate. Tiberius, Julius Caesar Augustus, was a Roman emperor who reigned from AD 14 until AD 37. He was the stepson of Augustus, an able diplomat, leader, and successful Roman general. Tiberius had a tense relationship with the Senate, and he was suspicious of plots against him. After the deaths of both his nephew and later his son, Drusus Julius Caesar, in unexplained circumstances in 23 AD, Tiberius became a recluse, fearing for his life. By 26 AD, he fled Rome and lived in a villa on the island of Capri. He delegated the running of Rome to Lucius Aelius Seianus. This role was not as good as it sounded, since Seianus was later executed for treason on the orders of Tiberius. Vipsania Agrippina the Elder was the daughter of Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa and a supporter of the first Roman emperor Augustus. She married her second cousin, Germanicus, a governor and general, who produced the infamous offspring, the son Gaius, who was nicknamed Caligula. The trouble began when Germanicus died and Agrippina tried to secure the succession of her sons Nero and Drusus Caesar. Praetorian prefect Lucius Aelius Seianus was having none of it, and in AD 29 he exiled Nero to Pontia in the Tyrrhenian Sea and Agrippina to the old volcanic island of Pandataria, which is now Ventotene, where they respectively died. Actually, Caligula became emperor and turned out to be an insane tyrant who was the subject of a number of scandals. Pontius Pilate was the Roman governor of Judea, who famously oversaw the trial of Jesus and ultimately ordered his crucifixion, since crucifixion was a Roman punishment. Pontius Pilate is believed to have originated from southern Italy. After ordering the execution of a group of apparently armed Samaritans, he was recalled to Rome in the year 36-37, somewhere around then, possibly in disgrace, to face the emperor Caligula. Gulp. He died soon after, albeit an old man, in circumstances which are unclear, with even some claims of suicide. He's subject to an awful lot of accusations which dramatically differ based on his interaction with Jesus. Dante Alighieri was a leading Italian poet, writer and philosopher. His Divine Comedy is one of the most important poems of the Middle Ages and the greatest Italian literary work. It traced his journey through purgatory, hell, and through to paradise, at a time when religion dominated society. He wrote in Florentine dialect rather than Latin, enabling more people to read his work and influenced the development of what would later become the Italian language. His involvement with the White Guelphs in the Guelph-Ghibelline conflict. Now this was a dispute as to whether the terrestrial power of the Pope should have limits. Clearly Pope Boniface VIII was not impressed, and Dante was accused of corruption. He was fined and exiled from Florence in 1302. Dante refused to pay the fine, considering himself innocent, but also because a large number of his assets had been seized. He risked being burnt alive if he returned to Florence without paying the fine, so instead Dante travelled and was eventually buried in Ravenna. The Florentines have been politely requesting the return of the body of Dante for some time. The cheek of it! Cosimo di Giovanni de' Medici was an Italian banker and politician who established the Medici family as unofficial rulers of Florence during the Italian Renaissance. His extensive patronage of the arts included Donatello's David. Cosimo was imprisoned, fearing death, in Palazzo Vecchio, Florence, and had his sentence turned into exile from Florence in 1433. As Cosimo and his brother, Lorenzo, left for Venice, he took his bank and a number of other influential people with him. Capital began to flood out of the banking capital of Florence. Within a year, Cosimo had returned to Florence and began to secure his grip on power again. His support for the architect Brunelleschi enabled the completion of the dome of Santa Maria del Fiore, the Duomo, in 1436. Piero de' Medici, also known as Piero the Unfortunate, was the eldest son of Lorenzo de' Medici, also known as Lorenzo the Magnificent. He became leader of Florence in 1492, but politics was not really his thing. King Charles VIII of France entered what would become later Italy to assert his claims to the Kingdom of Naples. Piero, clearly misreading the situation, initially remained neutral to the French. He briefly resisted them and then gave in completely to the demands. Florence rose in uproar at Piero, and he and his family fled into exile in 1494. And despite endless plotting, Piero never returned to Florence. Galileo Galilei. Full name Galileo di Vincenzo Bonaiuti di Galilei, was an astronomer, physicist and engineer from Pisa, Italy. He became very influential in the area of observational astronomy, championing the theory of Copernican heliocentrism. This is a very complex term which means that the Earth rotates around the Sun. His views got him into hot water with other astronomers and the Roman Catholic Church, who disagreed with this theory. The Roman Inquisition of 1615 concluded that heliocentrism was foolish, absurd, and heretical, since it contradicted the concept of biblical creationism, the concept of divine creation. Arguing with Pope Urban VIII, Galileo was found guilty of heresy in 1633 and spent the rest of his life under house arrest. His works were banned. Giacomo Girolamo Casanova was an Italian adventurer, author, and playboy from the Republic of Venice. He mingled with high society across Europe, the royal families, the powerful, and romanced its high-profile women. Ironically, despite being known as a ladies' man, his lifelong love, a French woman he named Henriette, rejected his advances. His scandalous life as an apparent nobleman and his heavy gambling got him into huge debt. This forced him to leave Venice as he adopted alternative names as he tried to avoid people claiming back on his debts. He once fled jail from famously the Doge's Palace in Venice in 1755 and fled on a gondola. He lived his final years in Due, modern-day Bohemia, writing his biography, Histoire de ma vie, Story of My Life. This is considered the definitive guide to etiquette in the 18th century. Join me for part 2. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and maybe subscribe to the channel. That way you can enjoy more of this content. Thank you. Click here for some more videos you may be interested in.